Sige. So let us begin. Now, we will begin our talk about the introduction to biology with a little bit of a history. No? Actually, the concept of cells started out with this very simple na mga images. No? First is this image right here. Now, what's yung nakita ani ng image? Can somebody tell us? Can somebody volunteer? What's yung nakita ani nga picture? Yes, Fatima. Si Fatima ang nakauna.
Murag na
Yes.
ay kalis bitaw ma'am.
Murag unsa lang ga?
Kaliskis ma'am. Like nasyagnet ang basta ma'am kaliskis.
Murag siya- Kaliskis, scales, you mean. It looks like scales. Okay, very good. That is indeed, that's correct. Okay. How about this one? Can somebody tell us? Usa ni siya? What is this? Any kisa kay ito nag-raise og hand ganina. Uy, I forgot. Just Geraldine. Okay. Geraldine, what is this? What do you think is this?
Kanang maghimog potion, ma'am.
Maghimog potion. So mga witch ni siya. All right. Okay, how about Marinella? Marinella?
Ano ma'am, like ano, microscope sa una ma'am?
Very good. This is a very rudimentary model of your microscope, no? Mo ni siyang original Jude. As you can see, kuan lang ni siya. It only has a ano ni siya, mono lens na ni siya. Usa ra ka buok, no? And as you can see here, mo di siya ang specimen. This is the dahon. No? And then you have your lens, your mirror, and then ang light mo na siya no kini siya makaproduce mo gudi sa light. Kini siya. Bali gas man na siya. And naman kandila. Oo. So that's the source of light. Oh. Okay, and then this one right here, of course, it's an insect. No, this is actually one of the earliest things that were seen under the microscope. No, so ina lang history sa ato ang the history of biology. It is not the study of biology is not really that old. Oo. Kay during that time, so when we're going to look at like the dates, no, katong mga 1500s, so pumagod sa like concept of cell. Even in the 1600s, medyo na-discover lang na nila but they didn't really know that the cell was really like the basic unit of life. Nana siya. So it all started in 1590s, wherein the most rudimentary, the most basic, no, the most basic model of your microscope was invented by Janssen and Lippershey. Now, can you siya, Janssen and Lippershey, they were not scientists. They were merchants. No, they made these microscopes because there were a lot of like wannabe scientists before, science enthusiasts before, biology enthusiasts before, and microscope sa ano is handheld. Mura ba siya magnifying glass? Pero di siya magnifying glass, ha? Handheld microscopes siya. So, it is very simple. Simple lang siyang microscope. And years after, in 1665, we have Robert Hooke. Now, Robert Hooke was a pretty lucrative guy. He was a rich man. And sa iyang ka-board, sa iyang pagka-rich, sa iyang ka-board, sa iyang pagka-rich, he was able to attend like conferences in scientific conferences and was able to acquire an early model of the microscope. And wala man siya lingaw. So, nakuha siya cork. Ano man ang cork? What is cork? Cork is the thing that you put sa to seal a bottle. Kana bitang wine bottle, kana siya the cork. If you, for your information, if you don't know where cork comes from the cork cambium of the plant, the cork cambium of the tree. No? So, wala siya lingaw, he placed it under the microscope and then he was able to see these, no? Because wala pa may kuan sa una, wala pa cameras were still not invented during that time, or cameras embedded on what do you call this, on microscopes were not invented during that time. Ang mabuhat na jud sa observer is to draw. Okay? And this is what he saw, si Robert Hooke, no? So he was actually the person who coined the term cells, because when he looked into the image, no, when he looked into the cork, na notice niya nga mura siya og selda sa prisuhan. no? Manang gitawag niya og, "Uy, these are cells." And then, lo and behold, cells sa daynat ang atong tawag sa iyaha. Now, 3 years later, Robert Hooke's contemporary, who is Anthony Phillips van Leeuwenhoek, nag-observe sad siya og mga things under the microscope. Some of those were protozoa, sperm cells, etc., etc. And then lastly, nagkuha siya og sample from his teeth, no? The tartar on his teeth. And then he placed it under the microscope and then he observed that there are things that are moving under the microscope. And kini mga things that were moving under the microscope, gitawag din niya, gi-coin din niya as animalcules because they look like animals, like little animals. So animalcules. All right. And then years and years later, in 1838, we have Schleiden and Schwann, who actually expanded the knowledge on animal and plant cells. So see Schleiden, he focused on plant cells, and Schwann, he focused on animal cells. And 1850s, sa 1850s na dayon, we have Remak, Virchow, and Kolliker, who actually discovered the function of the cytoplasm. So cytoplasm is the area where your cell organelles are situated in, kung asa ga-float imong mga organelles. And they actually contributed to the concept, or to one of the principles of the cell theory, which is that cells actually come from pre-existing cells. Dili pwede nga ang cells mukalit lang og generate, or there is no such thing as spontaneous generation when it comes to cells. And lastly, in 1898, we have the discovery of some membrane-bound organelles. Like Carla Benda discovered the mitochondrion, which is the powerhouse of the cell. Now, I hope you remember this, from junior high school. I hope this is familiar to you. So junior high, kanang natay mitochondrion, the powerhouse of the cell, which is a membrane-bound organelle inside the cell that generates or makes energy. And we have the discovery of Camilo Golgi, which is the Golgi apparatus responsible for the protein packaging or the packaging of proteins. Packaging. Ayan. So that is the history of biology, a very brief history of biology. So, when understanding the cells, there are only three principles of the cell theory. Number one, all living things are made of cells. That's the first one. The second one is the smallest living unit of structure and function of all organisms is the cell. As I said, balik na siya since junior high school. The basic unit of life is the cell. So, if that thing or natay usa ka butang nga naay cell, it means alive na siya. If wala siya cell, it is not alive. Inana na jud siya. So if you're gonna look at, let's say for example, a water tumbler under the microscope, wala jud siya cell because it's not alive, no? So anything that is alive has a cell. And lastly, all cells arise from pre-existing cells. Therefore, there is no such thing as spontaneous generation. Walay cell na ningkalit lag tunga. Kay wala lang. Diba? Okay. So today we'll be talking about, or we'll be looking at an overview of the three representative cells that we have. No, we have the prokaryotic cell. I hope this is familiar to you, from good junior high. Paki-heart daw, B, for those who find this topic familiar. Okay. Ato namang i-unearth ang inyong learn before. No, we will unearth it and we will add more knowledge to what you learned before. Okay, so familiar ni sa inyo, that's good. Okay, so we have the prokaryotic cell, and then this is a eukaryotic cell, which is your animal cell. Okay, and another eukaryotic cell. Oh my God. It's not turning. Wait lang, ha. Ay, ito na. And another eukaryotic cell, which is your plant cell. Ayan. So, those are just the things, those are just the cells, the representative cells that we'll be tackling. So let us go back to your prokaryotic cell. This is a bacteria cell. This is a representative bacteria cell. Now, to refresh your memory, prokaryotic cells are single-celled organisms or unicellular organisms. Okay, so they exist as only one cell. Now, prokaryotes are they do not have they do not have membrane-bound organelles. By the way, by the way, um, I need to remind you ha. I need to remind you that your ang notes ani, if you want more details on this, naani siya sa PDF files, okay? I think this is topic basta pagitaan lang dito ang topic nga cell parts and function. Naara to ang more details. Kay basin maglisod mo diri og cope ba kay sulat-sulat naman gud ko diri. Then sometimes my penmanship is it's not really the best. So, none of to ang details. Just download the PDF. I just like using this slides, kanang blanco bitaw kay para makasulat-sulat ko. I just like to do that. Okay, so again, prokaryotic cells are single-celled organisms that do not have membrane-bound organelles such as mitochondrion, nucleus, wala na sila ana. Simple jud kayo, very rudimentary, very basic ni siya nga cell, no? So, ang imong prokaryotic cell naa siya enclosure called your cell wall. Ang imong cell wall, in this case, kaning imo bacteria, it is made up of peptidoglycan, no, na substance. It is tough. It encloses your encloses your bacteria cell and it secures the bacteria cell. And in addition, aside from the cell wall, no, it also has a plasma membrane which has a phospholipid bilayer. So I will tell you more about the special characteristics of your phospholipid bilayer later on. Basta importante na siya, just take note of that. Now, inside of the cell, no, naatay cytosol. This is the solution wherein your the things inside your cell are situated in. Cytosol is the solution. The area is called your cytoplasm. Okay, cytoplasm. Now, inside the cell of your prokaryotic ni mga bacteria, naatay dense region that has DNA. Okay? Now, kining dense region is called your nucleoid. It is called nucleoid because it's not technically a nucleus. Kaya kung nucleus kini siya, it means naa siya membrane. But in this case, wala siya membrane. It's just a dense part. Okay? Heavily contained kung ano siya kanang very dense with DNA material. So, mo na gitawag na siya nucleoid. Now, can somebody tell us, katong nakadumdum lang ba, can somebody tell us, what does DNA stand for? Yes, Ayla. Sige, pasabot sa DNA.
Deoxyribonucleic acid, ma'am.
Very good. Deoxyribonucleic acid. And what is DNA for, DI? Can we have another volunteer? What is DNA for? Kuro, 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 kuro. Wala na lang mataba. Yes, Prince Eric. Go ahead.
Jeans, ma'am.
Genes or genetic material siya. If it is a genetic material, it means na it actually dictates everything that the organism will undergo or that the organism will have. Like for example, mag-dictate siya unsay color sa organism, unsay itsura niya, unsay mga metabolic processes na ana, unsay mga disease nga na ana niya. So, kana siya very important kaayo na si DNA, no? All cells, whether it be prokaryotic or eukaryotic, all cells will have DNA. Now, kini dayon mga additional mga kachuchuhan sa imuhang prokaryotic cells are your ribosomes. Kana siya ko ano na siya, mga free radicals. They're just free floating in your cytoplasm. So, what are ribosomes? Ribosomes are important for protein synthesis, okay? Protein synthesis, meaning it makes proteins. Now, what's so special about proteins? Why are they so many? Because yung mga dito kasulod si Vic Ladla kay nawala ilang connection. Okay, that's all right. So, what's so special about proteins? Why are they very important? They are important because proteins are basically everywhere. No, they could be enzymes, they could be hormones, even your DNA is made up of protein. No, so protein is so essential. Protein is everywhere basically in living things. So mo nang ang imong prokaryotic cell sad naa sad siya ribosomes. Ayan. Now, your prokaryotic cells, for them to move no freely, for them to have locomotion, kuan siya, naa din siya kini ng mga structures. You have the hair-like structures called your cilia, or naasid sila what we call as flagellum, which is the tail of the prokaryotic cell. Now, what other human-based cell has flagellum? Hello. Unsay laing human cell ang naay flagellum? Any idea?
Sperm cell, ma'am.
Sperm cell. Very good. All right. But it doesn't mean that your sperm cell is a prokaryotic cell, ha? Oo. It just has that. Nala siya, ana, so that it can move paingon sa egg cell sa babae, sa vagina sa babae. But it doesn't mean it's a prokaryotic cell. All right. So we're done with the prokaryotic cell. Let's go to the eukaryotic cell, which has a lot of membrane-bound organelles. Okay. Number one, we have the nucleus. Okay. Kana siya. Now, inside the nucleus, dapat yun na siya ay special region, which is called your nucleolus. Now, what is in the nucleolus? Sa nucleolus, dara mag-produce og production of ribosomes. Okay, dara ma-produce inyong ribosomes. Now, can I ask again, what are ribosomes for, gani? Para unsa gali ang ribosomes? Anyone? ABM6? Para unsa ka si
Ano, ma'am, for
ribosomes?
making proteins, ma'am.
Okay, protein synthesis. Okay,
Protein.
very good that you still remember. Ayan. So, gikan din na kang nucleolus. Then, ang gawas ni nucleolus, mali na ang nucleus, basically. And then, kini sa nucleus, naa diri imuhang DNA. But remember, DNA is very long. For eukaryotic cells, DNA is like 2 meters long. It is so long but very very thin. It's like thread, no? So for it to be enclosed in the nucleus, for it to fit inside the nucleus, it needs to be coiled. No, it needs to be coiled, and that is why the genetic material that can be found in the nucleus is actually formed into a chromosome. Okay, nana siya. Do you remember what a chromosome is? Kaila mo chromosome from junior high? Kaila mo? Kaila ba? Yes. Okay, kaila daw siya. Si Ayla ragyan po na akong kastorya karong for today's video. Si Ayla ragyan po na akong kastorya. How about the others? Hoy, tubagsan mo ba? Hala ka, oy. Thumbs up if you're still listening. Miracle! I thought you were already sleeping. Or 5:17 naman. So, nakaroon, tigang nakaroon sa bugas. No? Sa kuan, sa kanon. Alright, so inaana si nucleus, no? And then kining imo nucleus, no? Because it is membrane bound, na ay mga things that would go out of the cell and would come in. Na ay mga things that would go out of the nucleus and would come into the nucleus. That is why the nucleus has pores, no? Na ay nuclear pore. Now, kini siya, the other organelles, no? Like for example, kining rough endoplasmic reticulum, okay. Mo siya ang sequence, no? Ang ibang cells would produce a lot of proteins in its lifetime. No? Kini siya ng mga proteins, ginapagawas niya from the cell and it will be brought somewhere else kung asa ni siya kinahanglan. Inana siya. So, suppose na gipahimo ang cell. Nagipahimo ang imong brain na, uy, cell, himuan ni siya nga protein, palihog ko. Ana siya. So, the cell will make that protein. So, it starts off in the nucleus, where it will release the ribosomes. These ribosomes will be brought to the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Dili siya paingon sa rough endoplasmic reticulum. Gitawag siya rough endoplasmic reticulum because it has ribosomes in it. Mura siya og kanang raisins bitaw, nagibutang bitaw sa kuan. Raisins nagibutang sa fruit salad, but raisins are unnecessary while while ribosomes are necessary. I don't like raisins, by the way. So, kiniraj with the plastic reticulum, importante siya in the production of proteins. Ana. Now, paghimo ni rough endoplasmic reticulum of protein, sometimes, kay nahanglan siya og attachment. Kay nahanglan siya that it needs to have another group that will attach to it, whether it be a carbohydrate or a fat. Now, that task will be then given to the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, where it will attach either a fat or a carbohydrate to that protein produced sa rough endoplasmic reticulum. Okay? So, pagkuman niya sa rough endoplasmic reticulum, niagi siya sa smooth endoplasmic reticulum, nagkuha siya og carbohydrate. So now it's a protein and a carbohydrate attached together. Now, kini siya, kung kompleto na siya, no? Kung kompleto na siya na molecule, this will then be brought out of the cell through the Golgi apparatus. Diri na sa siya paingon. So, step 3, Golgi apparatus. So, your Golgi apparatus is responsible in packaging. Okay? The packaging of the proteins. So think of your Golgi apparatus as LBC. Okay? Think of it as LBC wherein siya ang mag-bubble wrap, siya ang magbutang sa box, inana siya, no? So, si Golgi apparatus, iyang i-prepare ang protein, ang molecule or the substance, paggawa sa cell, no? So, how does it prepare it? It will enclose it in a box. What is that box called? That box is called your vesicle. Ayan, kana siya, ang vesicle. Then, kiniring vesicle, magawasan din siya to the cell membrane. And then that's it. Wala na siya. Gawasan din siya cell membrane, and then gawasan siya, bye! Ano siya. So, gawasan din siya. There are other structures in your, structures in your cell that are found here. Like, for example, imong lysosome is responsible in digestion, no? Digestion of unnecessary things inside the cell. Like, for example, if there is an invading bacteria or whatever, gusto na pat yun sa cell, lysosome, because it has digestive enzymes. Or another example is, if there is already an organelle inside the cell that is not functioning well, di na siya ka-function kaayo, ang lysosome na din ang bahala na iyang kanon. Or if ang whole cell jud mismo, if the whole cell is not functioning anymore, so it would like to kill itself, so kana siya, the cell suicide is being conducted by your lysosome. There are also other parts here like your microfilaments, your centrioles, your microtubules, which are responsible for maintaining the shape of your cell, no? Like, for example, ang imong cell, di ba, dapat inani og shape. It needs to be globular or para kuan siya kanang ma-maintain niya iyang shape, no? For it to maintain that shape, naa siya yung mga structures, microtubules and microfilaments to do that, and also your centrioles. Because if wala na sila, the skeletons of the cell, if wala na siya, then wala siya. Flat kaayo siya. It will not be able to function well. All right. Now, ang imong plant, ang imong plant cell is basically the same. It has the same organelles as that of your animal cell, but naala siya mga special parts, no? Like, for example, your plant cell would have a bigger vacuole, okay? Bigger vacuole. So, ma'am, does it mean that the animal cell also has a vacuole? Yes, it also has a vacuole. However, ang plant cell lang, ang vacuole lang niya is larger. mas dako lang. Kay it will store water, it will store waste. Mao iya. Uy, may bago pa kamata si kuan Mr. Ibanez. Okay ra ka lang ga.
Hello, sorry, ma'am.
Oh, binako. And in addition, your plants also have chloroplasts, which your animal cells don't have. No, we'll talk about that later on. Now let's go back a little bit to the cell membrane. As I said kanina, ang imong cell membrane is very special. It is wait lang, di na sa siya mag-previous. Ah, ano man ni? Ayun. Ayan. So, it is made up of phospholipid bilayer. Okay? Phospho as in phosphorus, lipid as in your fat. Oo, kana siya. And bilayer as in two layers, no? So, what's so special about this is your cell membrane, because of these characteristics, no, na siya polar na kuan na cell membrane. It means that naa siya head nga hydrophilic, meaning gana siya tubig, and ang iyang ikog kay hydrophobic, dili siya ganag tubig. Now, if that is the case, um, if that is the case, there are of course substances that are water soluble and non-water soluble, no? So katong mga substances that are water soluble, meaning they're made up of water, makaagi sila sa hydrophilic head, pero maglisod sila sa hydrophobic. That is also the same for substances that are water soluble, no? Makaagi sila sa hydrophobic tail, fine, but they cannot pass through the hydrophilic head. So this actually helps your cell membrane or your cell to retain the things that it needs and get rid of the things that it does not need. Inana na siya. So, dili makasayon-sayon og sulod ug gawas ang mga substances sa imong cell. And these are some examples of the molecules that can actually move freely into and out of the cell. You have your water, carbon dioxide, ammonia, and oxygen. So, kana siya. So, mo nang special about your cell membrane. Now, let's go to the bacteria-like organelle. Anong tawag mo sa bacteria-like organelles? Because they have their own DNA. Nasa kaugalingon na DNA. Lahi ang DNA ni mitochondrion sa DNA sa makita sa nucleus sa imong cell. Okay? Now, there are two bacteria-like organelles. You have your mitochondria, which is found in both animal and plant cell. And your chloroplasts, which are found in plant cells and photosynthetic cells. No? So, ang ibang mitochondria, just like what I said kanina, it is the powerhouse of the cell. So, what it does is, it converts sugars into ATP. Do you remember what ATP means? Kadog mo, ana?
Yes, ma'am.
What does it mean, langga? What does it stand for?
Adenosine triphosphate, ma'am.
Very good. Adenosine
Adenosine triphosphate, ma'am.
triphosphate. Oh, that's correct. So adenosine triphosphate, ang kwan magod, ang sugars magod, they are large. No, they cannot get into the cell. So what your cell does, what your mitochondria does, is it converts your sugars to ATP, and ATP is the energy currency of your cell. Magamit sa imong cell as source of energy. So mo na si mitochondrion. Okay. So, both of your animals and your plants have this. Kaya di ba gagamit mo sa energy in yung plants. Whereas, ang chloroplast, sa plants na niyo siya makita and other photosynthetic cells. Nga naman, because plants cannot eat sa mga kaon. So, they need to produce their own energy. So, what it does is it gets carbon dioxide and water. And of course, with sunlight, it produces sugars. Bale, mauni siya ang stored energy and oxygen as a byproduct. So, kani siya. So, mo ni imuhang bacteria-like organelles. Okay. So, last na lang. So, we have the three domains of life, as you know, kaganina, no? So, naatay prokaryotes ug eukaryotes. Pero kini three domains of life, naatay archaea, bacteria, and eukarya. Si archaea ug si bacteria, they are prokaryotic, meaning they are single-celled organisms. Okay, single cell, one cell lang. Si archaea, they're related to the bacteria. Pero ancient lang. They're more ancient. They're older than that of your bacteria. And because they're older, they actually live in like the most hostile environments, the very very hot and the very very cold the environments. Then, naaring tayo, eukarya, which are basically your eukaryotes. Ako, ikaw, your pets, your plants, and all that. Multicellular beings, they are all eukaryotes. I'll not talk about this anymore. You can just look through the phylogenetic tree, ha? Kana siya. All right. So, in one of your activity sheets, you're going to answer this, no? The three domains of life information sheet, a chart. So, you just have to Google these, ha? Description of the archaea, bacteria, and eukarya. Also, mga representative organisms. So, there are cells here that I've already filled in the eye, sorry. And then, ang habitat nila, asa makita ang bacteria and eukarya. The type of cell, I think you know this already, prokaryotic na siya. And then, why are these important to humans? So, what's the importance of these domains of life to humans? Okay, so please do answer that, ha, if you have a copy na of your activity sheets. May we have a volunteer to read to us question number 1 and its choices? Okay, may we have a volunteer, please? Kisa maning. Okay, kasi una ninyo. Mm-mm. Marinella. Okay, go ahead, Marinella.
Number 1. Which of the following statements about the microscope is correct? A. It is an optical instrument that uses lenses to study microorganisms only. B. It is made of lenses that enable light focusing and mirrors that magnify the image. C. It was invented by Robert Brown, who first recognized the existence of cells in plant cork. D. Leeuwenhoek used a single-lens microscope while Hooke used a compound microscope.
All right. Cast your answer. Cast your votes. Charot. Okay. Write the letter of your answer in the chat box. No? So, again, with the checkpoints that we have, no, practice naman nato ni since the first grading. I'm actually teaching you how to answer questions, answer multiple choice questions, even if you don't know the answer. So I hope that you also find these techniques useful in answering multiple choice questions in other subjects as well, not only in Earth and Life Science, but also in other subjects. No, so wala may nag-answer, wala may naghatag og answer nila. Kindly give us the letter of your answer for number 1. Okay. All right. So, lantawid jud ninyo, ha. Read the choice carefully. Read each choice carefully. Oo. Mm-mm. And look out for words such as never, only, all, sometimes, may or may not. Kana siya kana mga don't. Kana siya mga words. No? They are really dangerous words because they can make or break an answer. Oo. So, okay. Dahil nag-answer og A, wow, I love your answers because your answers are so varied, no? Dahil nag-answer og letter A, dahil nag-answer og letter C, letter D, daghan nag-answer og letter D. Si John Axel sa tanan sa diyang giansiran, sige, lantawan nato inyong mga choices. Okay. So, asa ko na daw, Ani, ang tinuod na answer when you talk about microscopes. Okay, letter A, let's look at letter A. It is an optical instrument that uses lenses to study microorganisms only. Now, remember what I told you? Be careful of words that give you an absolute, that gives absolution. Ano? Like, for example, kana, all, never, only, sometimes, kana siya. Oh, only. Okay. Tinuod ba nga microorganisms only lang makita sa microscope? No, di ba? Hey, aside from microorganisms, pwede man ka maggamit og virtually anything, no? Anything. Dahon, papel, bisa unsa. Okay. So, any siya, this is wrong, no? So, not microorganisms lang. All the things that you want to see under the microscope, pwede. Why not? Di ba? Okay, let's look at letter B. No. Let's look at letter C. It was invented by Robert Brown, who first recognized the existence of cells in plant cork. Robert Brown. Did we talk about anything about Robert Brown? Robert Hooke tingali. Robert Hooke, but not Robert Brown. So Robert Brown, wala siya appeal. Okay, X. All right. Okay, how about letter B? It is made of lenses that enable light focusing and mirrors that magnify the image. Okay. Mura siya correct, right? It sounds correct. It sounds correct. No, ganong wrong man siya. Kitanawa. Lenses that enable light focusing. Do lenses do that? And another, mirrors that magnify the image. Ang mirror ba ang maka-magnify og image? Sige. Anong wrong man ni siya? Because ang lenses maka-magnify sa image. Okay? Ang mirror maka-focus sa light. Baliktad siya. No? So you really have to read carefully the choice before, even if it sounds correct. No? Even though it sounds correct, you really have to read the choice. Yan. So, wrong siya. Now, even if wala ka kabalo nga ang correct answer kay D, ma'am, wala man na nimo talk about, ma'am, wala mo ko nakadumdum, ana, ma'am. Even if wala ka kabalo. But remember, unsa kali ingon ni Sherlock Holmes? Ingon si Sherlock Holmes that when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. Okay? So, unsay nabilin, mo na siya ang answer. Kay kabalo man jud kay you're absolutely kanang sure that the rest of the answers are wrong. So kung unsay nabilin, maybe mo na siyang answer. Okay? So ingon siya diri, Leeuwenhoek used a single lens microscope while Hooke used a compound microscope. So this is the answer. Ayan. So kung kisa naka-answer letter D, wow, sana all. Gano kabalo mo sa answer, oy? How did you know? All right. So let's go to number 2. Number 2, who would like to volunteer? Kasi mag-volunteer. Okay, Ayla. Then number 3 si Fatima. Okay, go ahead, Ayla.
Number 2. Which of the following statement is not in line with the tenets of the cell theory? A. Cell division is responsible for the reproduction of cells. B. All cells must contain genetic material. C. Energy may or may not be required by organisms to sustain life. D. All organisms could be made of single or multiple cells.
All right, very good. Okay, all right, write type in the letter of your answer in the chat box. Wow. So remember, ang atong ginapakita kay the not correct, katong dili correct na answer. Mao na siya ang correct na. The correct answer is the not correct answer. O di ba? Weird. Okay, A, C. There are only three koan principles of the cell theory, but of course, pwede bang na siya ma-expound, no? It can be expounded, it can be detailed. No? Ah, bakit kaya akong koan? My tummy has a lot of gas. Ouch. Okay. Oh, ganun ko varied ka pa ng answer. Naiuban nga B, naiuban na C. Remember what I told you, be careful of words that give absolution to the choice. Okay? All, never, some, may not, kana sila. Okay. Tao na to ang letter A. Cell division is responsible for the reproduction of cells. Yeah, it is responsible. If you remember in junior high school, the atay two kinds of cell reproduction, di ba? Cell division, di ba? Unsa kay ito? My, my,
Mitosis, ma'am.
very good, mitosis. Okay, and what's the other one? What's the other
Meiosis.
one? Meiosis. Wow, very bright. Kaayo si, kisa to eh. Sorry, kailangan. Ay, si Ayla da ito. Wow, very bright. Okay. When you say mitosis, it is a cell division of somatic cells. What are somatic cells? Somatic cells are just, the cells that are in your body, except the sex cells. Somatic cells like skin cells, your keratinocytes, your liver cells, kana sila. These are somatic cells. No, meiosis, on the other hand, governs your sex cells, or this is kind of cell division that you can find in sex cells. So, kana siya, kanang sperm o egg cell, meiosis ang iyang division, ana. So, correct ni siya, no? So, definitely this is not the answer. Okay. Letter B, all cells must contain genetic material. Yes. Kay, unsay purpose sa cell? Mag-contain siya sa genetic material. It will, the purpose of the cell is to reproduce and to pass on that characteristics, so to pass on all those characteristics. So all cells, whether it be prokaryotic or eukaryotic, have DNA. Oo, have DNA or genetic material. So yes, this is correct. So wrong siya. Okay. Di siya mao ang answer. All right, let's go to letter D. All organisms could be made of single or multiple cells. Yes. Single prokaryotes, multiple eukaryotes. Yes. So, usay nabilin? Letter C. Ayan, gamay ra ang nag-answer ng letter C. Pangkusion ta mo. Pero actually, daghan di ay. Letter C. Okay. So, to sustain life, kailangan og energy. Oo. More energy, more energy, more footwork, more footwork. Mo pa nang ginaingon sa TikTok, di ba? So, kung kamo daw, pag-try daw mo nga, di mo makaon in one day, di ba kapoy? Di ba? You don't feel good. Oo. So, energy is very important to sustain life. Okay? Sa ingon niya, more energy, more footwork, more footwork. Okay, let's go to number 3. Kasi ito itong volunteer sa number 3, nakalimot ko. Yes, Fatima. Okay, go ahead, Fatima.
Number 3. Which of the following characteristics does not describe organisms belonging to the domain Archaea?
Mm-mm.
A. Some can produce methane. B. They live in extreme environments. C. Some live in hot springs and acid waters. D. They
Mm-mm.
are multicellular and possess a true nucleus.
Okay, all right. Cast your votes. Cast your answers. Okay, sa inyong answer? Archaea? Ano ni Archaea? It is a domain of life, di ba? What is Archaea? Is it prokaryotic, eukaryotic, chingeling, chingeling? Ay, laylay na silang answer, oh. Uy. Okay. Sayon na kay ni. If you remember what Archaea is a prokaryote. Oo, what does it mean kung prokaryote? Single-celled. No? Sila nga organism. So, sa may answer na? Sa daw ang it does not describe. Bahala ko mo kabalo ang uban. Oh. Ang dili ani is multicellular. Ah. So, ang answer ani is letter D. Ayan. Bahala ko mo kabalo, ma'am. So, methane, ma'am. It is a greenhouse gas. And even if wala na ko nigi talk about Archaea yesterday, you don't need to know that. You don't need to know that at all. So, next is they live in extreme environments. If you remember when you talked about when I talked about Archaea, I talked about how archaea is like they're considered to be ancient bacteria and they can live in very hostile environments, the coldest of the colds, the hottest of the hots, and basta extreme environments. And they also live in hot springs and acid waters, as in hostile environment. So kung sa ang nabili na na, that's letter D. Dili sila multicellular because again, archaea are prokaryotes. Okay, remember sa domain of life, under sa prokaryotes are archaea and bacteria. Okay? Dayon, eukarya dayon. Ayan. So, congratulations to those who have answered all of the questions correctly. Ayan, congratulations. If dili gani, that's fine. You know, wala man ni siya. Energizer pa man ni siya. All right? All right. So, well done, everyone. Let's go to our topic for this afternoon, and that is on the unifying themes of life. You know what? Throughout the years, no, throughout the years, nga nag-teach ko din sa Liceo, I've been asking my students, like, how do you know that you're alive? And they always answer the same thing. Ma'am, because na ginhawa man ko, ma'am. That's the way that I know that I'm alive. But if you're gonna look at the plants, you know that they're alive, but they don't breathe. They don't have the parts to do that. They don't have lungs, they don't have noses and everything. So are they alive? Yes, they're still alive, even if they're not breathing. So breathing is not really a criteria of life, no. So let's look at let's look at the properties of life, in which we know nga alive na siya nga organism. So if we're gonna look at these photos, no, kinin sila mga gifts, no. Okay, let's say for example, kini siya. Okay, this is a dandelion flower, no. And what happens to the dandelion flower? Any volunteer? Can you tell us what you see? Yes, Kim?
Nangatangtang siya ma because of the strong wind.
Okay, nangatangtang siya. Actually, ang nangatangtang anak kay kini siya nga dandelion flower has already been pollinated na, no? So, naa na nay seed. So, kanang drift away gani kay seeds na siya. Mo ni siya ang seed. Okay. So, nganong kailangan man siya maginana? It drifts away with the wind. Kining seed, wherever it will drift away, wherever it will land, there it will grow. So, inana siya, no? That is a way for the dandelion to ensure nga mag-reproduce siya or mabuhi ang iyang species. Hay, nako, di na sa siya mag-next. Kajut lang. Alright, how about in this photo? Di siya mag-zoom in. Ayan, nag-zoom in na siya. How about in this photo? Kini siya nga plant. Can you tell us what's happening here? Or what you see? Yes, Fatima.
Kuan ma'am kanang ni-grow siya ma'am.
Ning grow ang plant. Which we also, do we also see that in human beings? Kind of pag-grow? Yes. Okay. How about this one? What do you see here? Can we have a volunteer? Ha, Fatima gyapon late na sad Fat. Oh, Marinella na sad. Okay. Si Marinella.
Ano ma'am, nagkahinay-hinay siya close ma'am once nga gihawiran siya.
Sa mani B. Sa mani nga plant B.
Ano ma'am, makahiya ma'am.
Very good. Dili kompleto ang imong childhood kung wala ka nang hilabot og makahiya, di ba? Part of childhood yun na siya. Dili kompleto imong childhood kung wala ka naghimo og necklace out of the santan flowers. Kuha kag santan usa ka buka ana o pa himuon din mo nag necklace o di ba? Dili kompleto inyong childhood. So kini siya, this is a way for nganong mo close kanus man siya mo close ang makahiya lang ga. Kung saon nimo ang makahiya para mo close siya.
Matouch ma'am.
Matouch siya. So any kind of touch, no? Kanang wala usa ka light, it will start to close. And what about this one? May we have another volunteer? Yes, Ayla. What do you see?
Trying to revive ma'am.
Revive?
Yeah. I
Revive?
don't know.
Okay. How about Joshua?
Nanganak, ma'am. Nanganak. Ipaanak niya.
Nanganak. Okay, very good. Nanganak ang stingray. Ayan. So all of these things, no? All of these images actually depict a life. All of these four things that we mentioned, no, these are actually properties of life. So we shall begin. There are actually seven of them. We shall begin with the first property of life, and that is order. Now, you can say order. Organisms are highly organized structures that consist of one or more cells. Just like your eukarya, your prokarya, dapat ang ato ang mga living things, not your cell. No? That's one of the tenets of the cell theory. And in addition, ngano kabalo ka nga human being ang human? How do you know that? You're looking at your uyab, tanaw ka sa imong babe, then kabalo ka nga human being na siya. Wah. Oo. Kabalo ka nga human na siya because it's always consistent. Human beings are consistent. We have a head, we have eyes, we have nose, we have mouths, we have legs, and we have arms. That way, we know that humans na siya. How do we know that a dog is a dog? How do we know that a cat is a cat? How do we distinguish between those? Because there's always order. No, there's always order and there's always consistency. So that is one property of life. Another is all living organisms are able to process energy in one way or another. Like for example, kita human beings, no, why do we need to eat? We need to eat so that we can get the sugars from the food that we eat and convert it into something that our cells can actually utilize. Just like how your mitochondrion in your cell, the mitochondrion, the membrane bound organelle in your cell, is able to convert your sugars into ATP or adenosine triphosphate, which is the form of energy that our cells can actually utilize. No, so that is a way for us to process energy. Now, do our plants do that as well? Yes, they do that. That process is called cellular respiration. They do that so that they can grow and develop. But where do they get their energy if they cannot eat? No, ang atong plants wala man na sila intestines. They don't have mouths and all that, so they cannot really eat to survive. So what do? They produce their own energy. They produce their own sugars. No, inana sila ka talented, very talented plants. So how do they do that? They do that through photosynthesis. So they have specialized organelles for that in their cell, and that is the chloroplast. Okay, so mo na siya ang energy processing. So the reason why ang imong butterfly kay mudapo jud niya sa imong flower is to get nectar from the flower. Ano siya? Para makaprocess sila energy. Another property of life is all living things are able to grow and develop. Growth is actually growing in size, like physical ni siya nga aspect, no? So for example, if you how do you know that an infant has grown? You know because ning taas naman iyang limbs, ning taas iyang arms, taas iyang legs, ning dako niyang ulo and all that. Okay. What about for development? It has something to do with the skills, no? Ang ilang skills. Like for example, katong baby pa na siya, ang baby, ang infant, kay the way it grasps things is it grasps through their palms, di ba? Kana bisang unsa ila makita ilahang hawiran, di ba? Inana na sila. But eventually, as months go by, when they turn 1.5 or 2 years old, no, they learn how to grasp things using their fingers. That's pincer grasp. No? So, ning taas ilang level of skill. So, that is development. Okay? So, that is another property of life. Another property of life is all living things are able to respond to their environment. If you're going to look at this image right here, this is a Venus flytrap. And why does it close around the prey? Nama ko di siya mga tiny hairs no inside the Venus flytrap. And kung naay mo dapo dara nga insect, no matter how light the touch is, ang hair na naa sa sulod sa Venus flytrap mo, ma-stimulate na siya din. Once kali na siya ma-stimulate, it will automatically close. No, so once it closes, it will trap its prey. That it's food. No, so that is response to the environment. Now, how about kita, human beings? Well, a very good example of that is if you cook in your home, for example, the prito mong isda, and di ba init pa kayo ng mantika, very very hot oil. Now, what if napiskan mo sa mantika? Unsa may hitabo? Pisik ka. Wala lang, work agay, mo na lugar mo, ouch. Ow, mana lugar mo. Of course not, 'di ba? Mo, ang first na buhaton sa inyong kamot kay, mana man jud mo, you're gonna take away your hand from the vicinity of danger. Okay? From danger. You're gonna take it away from danger. Dayon, mag-ana-ana din ka, mag-ana din ka. That is our response to the environment. So that we can ensure the survival, our survival. Okay? Para alive gyapon ta. And next is reproduction. Okay, inyong favorite mo, inyong favorite, di ba? Reproduction. So, for us to ensure that our species will survive in the next couple of years, no? Maybe in the next decade or in the next century or in the next millennium, amo bahala, we need to reproduce. Muna na siya. We need to have babies. O, di ba? Like karon, di ba, there is a baby crisis in South Korea. They have like the lowest birth rate to date. So napil din nila ang Japan. So they're a little bit scared because if they do not have a lot of children in the next couple of years, South Koreans will cease to exist. No? Wala na Koreans in the imagine na kung wala na inyong mga bias na mga K-pop o imagine na wala na sila, di ba? So, mo na siya. That's why a lot of them are encouraging like migration to South Korea. It's not that easy, but gina-encourage na nila, gina-encourage nila nga ang mga lalaki nila makay mag-marry og mga foreigner. So mo nang kung kamo gusto mo mga Korean afam, go laban. Okay. So mo na siya ang reproduction. Another is we're able to regulate our body because our bodies have internal environments, no? Naamantay normal levels of heartbeat, normal levels sa ato ang blood pressure. A very good example of that is how we regulate our core body temperature. Now, for us to function optimally, we need to maintain a core body temperature of 37 degrees Celsius, not below, not above. Because if above na siya, that's already hyperthermia, fever na siya. So imagine yourselves, big, kung ang fever mo, di ba, lain yung paminaw? Oo. Kung hypothermia sad, magsige ra mo katulog. So, dili ka function correctly ang inyong body. So, we need to maintain that. Now, what if you go on vacation in a very cold country? Let's say, for example, of all the countries in the world, dato mo nagbakasyon sa Iceland. O sige, for example, nga to mag-Iceland, bakasyon mapiting tugnawa dito. How does your body regulate itself to maintain a core body temperature of 37 degrees? O sige daw, B. Unsay kinabuhat sa inyong lawas para ma-maintain niya ang heat within the body? Any ideas? Wala idea?
Jacket, ma'am.
Mag-jacket? Okay. Pero ibang body mismo ba kay ka na mag-jacket kay imuha man ng kuan imong choice, no? But what about your body? Unsa ilang iyang response to that cold environment?
Magkurog, ma'am.
Very good, magkurog. Very good. No? So, di ba ko, the act of shivering increases your movement. And the more movement that your body does, the more heat is produced. No? So that is how our bodies are able to respond to that environment. So, mo na siya ang makaregulate na sa ato ang lawas. And lastly, we have evolutionary adaptation. Of course, to ensure our survival, we need to evolve and we need to evolve to adapt. Okay. So kung asa man ta napuyo, mauna siya nga to evolution. Like for example, i-compare na to tong selves sa mga sa inyong mga favorite mga South Koreans. Mong na inyong favorite na mga kuan karon na mga citizens of. Okay. I-compare na to. Kita lagom, sila kay puting puti di ba? Now, what's the reason for that? Because we live in the Philippines, which is in the tropics. Not sa tropics, no? We're near the equator. So we get a lot of heat. Now, for us to survive with this kind of heat, we need to have melanin in our skin. Now, with melanin, of course, it will, ang melanin nato, no? Okay, it will shield us from the harmful UVB and UVAs. It will para dili ta dali magka skin cancer o dili ta dali magka sunburn. O na siya. there's a reason why inani itong skin color. And then in addition, ang drawback ana, ang apan ana sa even if naatay melanin sa tong skin lagumta, the thing about that is uh because we live in this kind of environment, we don't really need to absorb vitamin D anymore. Okay, so the presence of melanin in our skin lessens our absorption of vitamin D from the sun. So, yun na siya. Because we don't need it, because we live in a tropical area. Whereas, ang inyong favorite na mga South Koreans, puti kina sila because they don't produce a lot of melanin. No? So, dili stand ilang skin. So, if that's the case, they don't need the protection, the extra protection from the sun. But their pale skin actually increases their likelihood of absorbing as much vitamin D from the sun as possible. Oo. Kay they don't really get a lot of sunlight in South Korea. So mo na ko daghay sunlight pak ang ilang skin mo absorb og as much vitamin D as possible. Mao nang if magkabaylo ang ato ang magbaylo ta kita Pilipino dato sa South Korea, ang mga South Koreans sa Pilipinas maglisod tag-adapt. Dugay kita maka-adapt. Ang mga Pilipino, yes, kanang kuan, kada maka-adapt ta, yes, sa atong kuan, sa atong skin, walay problema, no? However, naa siya'y mental health nga effect. Kay ang vitamin D is most associated with our mental health and our bone health. Oo. So, mo nang, there are a number of Filipinos, no, when they go to these kinds of countries, nga, they don't get enough sunlight, sometimes they develop seasonal depression. Oo. Magka-depression na sila sa winter, sa fall, inana. Ang kini sa mga South Koreans sa mga ani diri sa Pilipinas, magka-develop na sila skin cancer. Sad kaayo. Skin cancer or sa intense sunburns. So, most na siya, no. That's the kuan, that's the sad thing about, you know, exchanging places and then di ta maglisod adapt. Mo nang encouraged jud na siya ang pag encouraged ang pagbinyo og AFAM. Hala, lain kay si Ma'am Naima kay gakuan siya, ga-promote siya og AFAM. Pero encouraged na siya because the more that you reproduce with, you know, people that don't look like you, mas diverse or mas mixed up ang inyong genes, no? So, yeah, just look at Catriona Gray. Wala lang. Okay. There are other unifying themes of biology. Like, for example, form fits function. Form fits function. That's one of the things. The relationship between structure and function. If you're gonna if you're gonna look at chimpanzees, ang human beings, kita mga Homo sapiens, we are genetic cousins with the chimpanzees. Agaw na jud atong mga genes, atong DNA. Now, why is it that even though ig-agaw ra ta og genes, why is it nga naatay ka ng structural differences, no? Ang chimpanzees, they have very long arms compared to that of human beings. Now, why is that the case? Now, you're going to look at where we live, no? For example, the chimpanzees, asa kapuyo ang chimpanzees? Where do they live? They live in the wild. They live in the savanna. They live up in the trees. Now, how do they go from tree to tree? They swing themselves. Swing sila using their long arms. So, that is a way for them to survive. No? Whereas, kita mga humans, kanang wala man tayo longer arms because we don't need that. No? The kind of environment that we live in, we value intellect, rational thinking, in-ana ng mga higher order na mga thinking skills ang atong gina-value. That is why our brains, compared to that of chimpanzees, are more developed. Ayan. So, we don't need the longer arms. We don't need the longer legs for that. Another is a concept of homeostasis and survival. What do you mean by homeostasis? It is the preservation of the internal conditions of the organism. Kanang mga core body temperature nimo, ang normal heart rate nimo, dapat normal na sa tanan. Because if dili na siya normal, then walay homeostasis na gaka-hitabo. So, equilibrium is when everything is okay. Like everything is fine and everything is in normal ranges. That's equilibrium. Homeostasis wants to achieve that, the equilibrium. Na. So if walang equilibrium sa lawas, like for example, for diabetics, kung taas sa kailang blood sugar, that is already bad. Oo. So, ina na siya. And lastly, the relationship between evolution and biodiversity. With evolution comes in biodiversity. The more there is evolution, the more biodiverse our organisms are. No? So, ganong gina-celebrate pa natong biodiversity because we will get to know many other organisms. Takan. Or even, as the years go by, we will discover new species of fishes, new species of flowers, and ana. So the more that biodiverse our Earth is, the more chances of survival of these species. Ayan. Now let's go to the levels of biological organization. We shall begin at the very rudimental, katong pinaka-basic yun. All of us are made up of molecules. No? When these molecules combine with one another, they form organelles. If there are many organelles, they form cells, di ba? Kaya ang cell naamo siya many membrane-bound organelles, nucleus, rough endoplasmic reticulum, natay Golgi apparatus, etc., etc. If there are many cells which have the same function, they're able to form tissues, no? Tissues that are found in the brain, brain tissue, liver tissue, intestine tissue, and all that. Now, if daghan gali ni siya specialized tissues, they're able to form organs. And if these organs, if na a number of organs that have the same function or deliver the same function, like for example, your cardiovascular system, your respiratory system, they have the same purpose, no? They are able to form organ systems. Ano siya? If there are many organ systems, then you can form organisms, no? Ang usa ka organism, like let's say for example, a human being has many organ systems. As I've said, kagina cardiovascular, respiratory, digestive, etc., etc. And with these organisms, if the tao, it will form populations of human beings, populations of dogs, populations of cats. And if there are many populations, then it can form communities and eventually ecosystems. Ecosystems such as rainforest, such as taiga, tundra, and all that. And if you have many ecosystems in one planet, it will form one whole biosphere. Ayan. And how do we classify organisms? No, we classify them using this system. We start off with domain, which has, of course, sa ato ang planet na itulo ka domain na kay bacteria, archaea, and eukarya. Yan. And then, mo narrow down na din na siya. So in this case, we're trying to classify the American black bear. So we start off with the domain, which is obviously is eukarya. And then ang kingdom niya is Animalia, kay animal man siya. Animal ka, ana lugar. Phylum Chordata. Chordata as in chordates, kaya na sila spinal cord. Class Mammalia, kaya naman say boobs. Oo, kaya mag boobs, say nipples. Okay. Order Carnivora because they eat meat. Family Ursidae, genus Ursus, and species na Americanus. Okay, so sa scientific name, naadara imuhang genus o species. Alright? So, ang genus nimo will always start with a capital letter. So, mo anang Ursus. Dayon, ang species nimo will always start with a small letter, Americanus. And if you are using a computer to type this out, dapat naka-italics na siya. Italicized na siya. So that's how you name or that's how you categorize your organisms. So again, domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Okay. So remember that, huh? All right. All right. So I hope you learned something from today's lesson, no? Let's go to the checkpoint. Let's see if you still remember a little bit of what you've learned in today's lesson. And later on, I will assign to you short quiz number 7, and that is on cell parts and function. Ang kaning unifying themes of life, the na ni sa kuan, Thursday na ko i-assign. All right. So let us begin with number one. Oh yeah, number one. May we have a volunteer? I think usa lang ka question na to ma-answer for today. We shall continue it tomorrow. Okay, si Fatima. Okay. Fatima lang gyapon. Ikaw ba to ganina lang ga? Can we have another? O si Vic. All right. Okay, Vic, kindly read number one for us and the choices as well. Questions and choices.
Number 1, which refers to the formation of a more complex organization and arrangements of parts having different properties. A.
Mhm.
Biological system. B. Cellular basis of life. C. Form and function. D. Interaction with the environment. For me,
Okay.
kay,
Ay, isa answer. Isa answer. Let your classmates answer muna lang ga. Okay, for the rest of the class, kindly type in the letter of your answer in the chat box. Ayan. C, C, O, B. Ala. Hala ka. C or B sila. Which refers to the formation of a more complex organization and arrangement of parts having different properties. Dili siya cellular basis of life kay lahi man ang principles of cell theory. This talks about actually gilahi lang ni sila og term, no? Principles of cell theory ni siya. So definitely not this. Okay. Form and function or form fits function, ba? One minute siya, arrangement of parts having different properties. Formation of more complex organization. So, bali, organized siya. Meaning, na domain, kingdom, that's the organization I'm looking for. Is it form and function? No, it's not. Unifying team of life, man siya, team of life. Samot na ding letter D, interaction with the environment. Dili man siya kuan, organization. So, dili sad siya. So, sa'yo nabilin, sistema siya. So, the answer is biological system. Kay kini siya ang pag-arrange siya, the formation or ang arrangement, mo na siya ang keyword sa formation and arrangement. It talks about a system. Mo na ay sistema. So, ang answer na is letter A. All right?